Hi, I'm Tim Duquette, and I'm part of the director's category for the Dream Makers competition. A little bit about me. It's really the story of a young actor who went out to Los Angeles in his early 20s back in 1990 in search of an acting career, and within 6 weeks found what he was looking for. I made my big screen debut in the 1991 feature film The Doors, opposite Val Kilmer, Kyle MacLachlan, and Oliver Stone himself.
For 7 hours.
There was no political consciousness. You need your art spoon-fed to you. That's right on.
All right, hold it down. Hold on. Let's ask the filmmaker what he...
Next, I went on to star in the 1995 feature film. It's a sci-fi film called Project Metal Beast, and I starred in that film opposite Kim Delaney and Barry Bostwick. This is a film I actually had billing on, and we remember Kim Delaney from NYPD Blue.
Where's Larry? I have to see him.
See him later, Doctor. There's nothing you can do. We have to get out of here. It's much too dangerous.
Barry Bostwick was the mayor on Spin City. He was Brad Majors in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So it was really kind of great to be working alongside somebody like that. I can remember in college going to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and now here I am in Los Angeles acting in a film in a starring role.
Did we know Roger the geeky lab guy was going to get it? Roger, the guy who spends the whole movie getting startled every time somebody opens the door.
Roger, Jesus, you scared me.
Oh, thank God you're all right. How did you into your pager? I've been looking all over for you. This section is quarantined.
Roger, what are you doing out here?
I'm waiting for you. I don't think we should go in there.
You stay cool. I'm getting more silver.
Did a film called Inside. I was the doctor opposite Jeremy Sisto.
Hello, Daniel. I'm Dr. Blake. As you know, you'll be up for evaluation next week, and if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a few questions. So, how are we feeling today?
I feel fine, Doctor.
I starred in a commercial opposite Cliff from Cheers.
Bet you when you got back to Earth, you celebrated with a few cores, though. Are you guys sure this is Yuri Gagarin?
Oh, yeah. I've had starring roles in over 25 films. I have a film coming out, Man in a Box. In television, Pan Am, Saturday Night Live. I've had a couple of principal contracts on that show. These are just some of the highlights of my career as an actor. In about 2005, I made the crossover and I started directing. The first thing I directed was a darling little project called Mom's Apple Pie. And this film went on to be an award-winning film, and it starred none less than my mother. It's the story of a woman who left Germany, war-torn country, and came to America, and she learned to bake apple pie, and as we learn how to bake apple pie, we hear her story.
Like in Germany, where I come from, we don't have apple pie. Never had apple pie until I came over here. When I met my husband, the first Thanksgiving, he brought me to have my first Thanksgiving at the military base where he was, and we had some apple pie there too.
I mean, I get comments from this film from people around the world, and they say, thank you so much for sharing this film. It's brought us to tears. And when you can emote an emotion like that, that's truly filmmaking. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to bring the audience in so they're feeling something. But to bring them to an emotional state where they actually get emotional, you've really tapped a nerve. And as a filmmaker, they forgot about the fact that this was a made piece of work and they are able to immerse themselves in the story. My directorial debut in a narrative was the 2005 featurette, which is a 40-minute film called Banged Up. I shot this film in New York City, 21 days. I used a mixture of real actors and non-actors.
Mike, have you ever thought about cleaning up your act?
I have. Several people who worked on Banged Up had never ever been on camera before, but they were true guys from Brooklyn.
This is bad news, Mike. I'll tell you what happens with guys like you. They go floating in the Gowanus Canal for a couple days before anyone finds them.
It's the story of kind of a gambling degenerate who gets involved with the Irish Mafia, and it's all set to the backdrop of March Madness, and he bets on the hoops, and it culminates on St. Patrick's Day.
Duke, baby! Duke! Oh, Duke! God! Daisy!
And I really wanted to get that feel for what St. Patrick's Day is in that time of year, because that's kind of a special time of year, I think, for a lot of people.
One cop says to another, there's another dead sucker, cause the Jets couldn't cover the spread.
I've been down this road before in kind of a same capacity, meaning I've been in the director's chair to try to get a film made, a bona fide, legitimate film. In 2005, I optioned a George V. Higgins novel called Bomber's Law. George V. Higgins was the author of the 1972 film. He wrote the book, The Friends of Eddie Coyle. And that film, when they went on to make the film, starred Robert Mitchum and Peter Boyle. And growing up, that was actually one of my favorite films. It was shot in Boston. I grew up in Massachusetts, so it was a very cool little film. So in 2005, I optioned a book from the George V. Higgins estate. George has since passed, called Bomber's Law. And for 3 years, during the option period of that, I spent trying to get that film made, trying to put a team together to get the financing, to get actors attached, and to try to get this film made. After 3 years, my option ran out, and the film never got made. And I think that's just a testament to how difficult it is to get a film made. In addition to that, I think there's a lot of truth in the fact they say it takes 10 years to get any film made. I think there's a lot of truth in that. It was a fabulous process to go through. There was definitely some heartache to it. And of course, at the same time I optioned my book, the book by George V. Higgins called Coogan's Trade was optioned. That book was made into a film starring Brad Pitt called Killing Me Softly. So the reason I mention that is it shows you that if you have actors attached, the financing comes a lot easier, and the film will generally get made if you've got really high-powered stars attached. And I never got to that level before my option ran out.